This is M Honey Reads. I am super new. This is my first ever booktube video, so bear with me. I'm a little nervous, so no promises on how awkward I'm going to be. But I wanted to get to know you guys and do a bit of a get to know me video with a favorite books. So I was going to start off with my favorite book of 2022, which was Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. And I went in blind. I usually do with most of my books. I know it's a bit off the wall, but I like to be surprised by every aspect of the book, which leads me to a lot of DNF possibilities, but I'm a big stan for DNFing. I think if you don't want to finish a book, that's on you. It should be up to the reader what you want to read. You should be happy with what you're reading. That's all reading is about, not to monologue. But so Wrong Place, Wrong Time started off with the main character, and she's a mom, and she watches her son as he murders somebody in front of their house. And now her and her husband are like, well, what on earth are we going to do? So after the police station, she's trying to get some sleep. She wakes up the next day, and now it's suddenly a day before the murder occurred. And it keeps going further and further back, and it gets twisted. You are so curious, wondering what on earth is going to happen next. It kept me needing to finish it. I wanted to slam it shut. I wanted to throw it across the room. I wanted to scream at it. All good signs of an amazing book. So I highly have recommended this for the past, obviously, year. I loved it last year. And it's still one of my top books that I've ever read. And then recently, one of my favorites for October, and this author has been a must-buy author for me ever since I read the first book that I read of his, and it's Grady Hendrix, and this one is My Best Friend's Exorcism. And it is, first off, I didn't even realize they turned it into a movie, which, if I would have looked, the cover, I might have known. So I guess I didn't look that hard into it. But so I need to check out the movie. It's on Amazon Prime and see. I love comparing how close they got to the book. But if you haven't read Grady Hendrix, he is unhinged, odd, sarcastic. It's campy, it's funny, it's gross, it's gory, it's wonderful. If you're into that sort of horror style, you will love Grady Hendrix. I cannot recommend him enough to anybody. So next up is one of my favorite authors. I have read all of her works, and I cannot recommend her enough. When anybody asks me for a book recommendation, she's usually the first one to pop into my head, and I'm always like, well, you should try this, you should try this. And it is Jodi Picoult, and Change of Heart is one of my absolute favorites. What I love so much about Jodi is how she challenges you as the reader. She takes these controversial topics and she gives you all these different sides, all these different angles. She has you really examine it and in turn examine yourself. And ever since I was a teenager, I've read her books, and they have helped shape who I am today. And I give them a lot of credit for the person that I am and how I think. And another thing that I really love about her is, I don't know about you, but I get super attached to characters. So throughout her books, there will be some characters that come back. So there's a character in his family in here, Ian Fletcher, who I loved in Keeping Faith, and they do a little spotlight of him in Change of Heart. And then there's like Jordan McAfee, who's in 4 of her books, and just keeps coming back. There's quite a few characters that, you grow attached to and you get to see come back, but with a whole new story, with a whole new plot line, with whole new characters, and it's incredible. I love it. I love that style. And then I'll go with my most recent favorite book and favorite series, and this author has quickly become a favorite of mine. I started reading her books earlier this year, And it wasn't, I mean, like maybe in June, and I've read over 10 of her books now. I cannot stop. And it is the last in the Knock 'Em Out series. It's Lucy's Score with Things We Left Behind. And this book, I mean, Sloane and Lucian, the two main characters, are just, I was looking forward to their story since the first Knock 'Em Out when I was reading Things We Never Got Over, because I knew that those two were going to be it. Lucian was perfect to me. I really liked him as a male main character. Sloane was super relatable. She's a librarian, books. She's super quirky. She's super fun. I was looking so forward to reading this book. I couldn't wait. The day it came out, I snatched it up and I started reading it. And I love too that all of her books right now are on Kindle Unlimited. So right now I'm on book 6 out of 8 of her Blue Moon series book. Love it. I've loved all of those. I read all of the Pretend You're Mine, Protecting What's Mine, Finally Mine. I've read all of those, Forever Never. Love Lucy's Score. Cannot recommend her enough to anybody who loves rom-coms. If you are super into that happily ever after and that cute, you know, warm and fuzzy, you will love Lucy's Score. She is so worth a try. So those are just a couple of my favorite books. I plan to come back with another video hopefully soon about what I read in October and maybe what I plan to read in November. I am one of those people whose TBR and hopefuls changes constantly. I'm a mood reader, so I'm always switching it up and swapping and changing it out. I'll say that I'm going to read something and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that looks fun, and I completely switch. So don't take any of my hopefuls to heart and take them that seriously. They'll probably change, but it's always nice to have some sort of guideline, I guess. So hopefully I get to come on here soon, and thank you guys so much for giving me a shot and for watching this video. And I really appreciate it. If you have any comments, if you want to talk about books with me, feel free to comment on here, or like I said, I'm on Twitter at mhoneyreads. I'm more than happy to discuss books with anybody. And thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Bye.